Welcome to my channel, Rise Up with Steve. Please hit like, subscribe, and don't forget to share with your friends. Let me tell you something real today. A good woman is not easy to find. She's rare. She's loyal. She prays for you when you don't even pray for yourself. She believes in you when your own confidence is shaky. And the problem is most men don't realize her value until they've already hurt her. See, a good woman doesn't leave loud. She doesn't scream first. She tries. She explains. She forgives. But once she's done for real. And that is where the fear begins. The first thing a man fears after hurting a good woman is losing access to her heart. Because once a good woman closes her heart, there's no shortcut back in. You can buy gifts, send long messages, make promises, but she's already changed. She's colder, quieter, stronger. And that scares a man. Because he knows he didn't just lose a relationship, he lost emotional safety. The second fear is seeing her glow without him. Oh yes, nothing hurts a man more than watching a woman he broke become happier, more confident, more successful without him. Because now he realizes he wasn't her source. He was just standing in the way. When she levels up, heals, and stops looking back, it reminds him that he underestimated her strength. The third thing a man fears is regret that comes too late. Men often think they'll have time. Time to apologize. Time to change. Time to fix things later. But a good woman doesn't wait forever. When regret finally hits, it hits hard. Because by then, she's already moved on emotionally. And regret without access is one of the heaviest pains a man can carry. The fourth fear is never being loved the same way again. Because deep down, he knows the truth. Most women won't love him like she did. She loved genuinely. She sacrificed. She stayed when it was hard. And once that kind of love is gone, it's not easily replaced. That realization haunts a man, especially when new relationships feel shallow compared to what he lost. And the fifth thing a man fears is becoming the lesson. Every man wants to be the blessing, not the mistake. But when he hurts a good woman, he risks becoming the story she tells herself about what she'll never tolerate again. He becomes the reason her standards are higher. The reason she no longer accepts excuses. And knowing you shape someone's boundaries by hurting them. That stays with a man. So let me say this. Clearly a good woman doesn't ask for perfection. She asks for effort, honesty, and respect. And when a man loses her, the fear isn't just about being alone. It's about knowing he lost someone who truly had his back. A good woman does not change overnight. She doesn't wake up one day and suddenly become distant, cold, or uninterested. Her change is slow, quiet, and invisible at first. When a man hurts a good woman, she doesn't immediately walk away. She stays. She explains. She gives chances. She tries to fix what she didn't break. She communicates her pain in words, in tears, in patience. And most men mistake that patience for weakness. They think she's still here, so it can't be that bad. That's the biggest mistake. A good woman changes silently because she loves deeply. She doesn't want to give up easily. She remembers the good times. She sees potential. She believes that if she loves harder, understands more, forgives again, things will change. But every time she is hurt, something inside her shifts. She starts talking less. She stops explaining how she feels. Not because she doesn't care, but because she's tired of not being heard. At first, the man doesn't notice. He thinks things are calm. Less arguments, less drama. What he doesn't realize is that peace without connection is dangerous. When a good woman goes quiet, she's no longer fighting for the relationship. She's observing. She's emotionally stepping back. She's protecting her heart. And once a woman starts protecting herself from the man she loves, the relationship is already cracking. Her laughter changes. Her energy feels different. She still shows up, but not fully. She still smiles, but it doesn't reach her eyes. She stops asking questions, stops checking in, stops expecting effort. This is not because she stopped loving it, because loving became painful. She learns to detach in silence, and that detachment is powerful. A man often realizes too late that her silence was not peace, it was preparation. She was preparing herself for life without him. Every ignored message, every broken promise, every moment of disrespect pushed her closer to emotional independence. And once a good woman becomes emotionally independent, she becomes dangerous to lose. The fear begins when the man finally notices the shift. He feels the distance, he senses her absence even when she's right there. He tries to get her attention back, but it feels forced. The warmth is gone. The comfort is gone. And deep down, he knows why. He just didn't think she'd ever get to this point. What makes this fear heavier is knowing that he caused it. No outside influence, no third party, just his own actions. He knows that she gave him chances he didn't deserve. He knows she stayed longer than she should have. And now that she's changed, he understands something painful. She didn't stop loving him suddenly. She loved him until it hurt too much. When a good woman finally pulls away, she doesn't do it with chaos. She does it with clarity. And that's what scares a man the most. There's no argument to fix, no emotion to manipulate, no fight to win. Just a calm woman who has made peace with letting go. That silent change is irreversible. Because once a woman learns how to live without emotional dependence on a man, she rarely goes back. And that's the moment a man fears most, not losing her physically, but losing her emotionally while she's still standing right in front of him. Regret does not arrive immediately for a man. It doesn't show up the first time he ignores her feelings or dismisses her pain. It doesn't come when he chooses his ego over empathy or his comfort, over commitment. At first there is confidence, sometimes even arrogance. He believes she will always be there. He thinks her love is guaranteed, permanent, unbreakable. And that belief is exactly what delays regret. A good woman gives warnings before she leaves. Not threats, not ultimatums, warnings wrapped in vulnerability. She says things like, I don't feel appreciated, or I'm tired, or I just want to feel chosen. Each sentence is an opportunity. Each moment is a chance to change. But when those words are ignored, when apologies come without action, she starts withdrawing emotionally. And still, regret doesn't hit him yet. Regret usually comes when access is gone, when her calls stop, when her messages become short or non-existent, when she no longer asks where he is or what he's doing. At first, he enjoys the freedom, no pressure, no expectations, no emotional responsibility. But freedom without love quickly turns into emptiness. Then it happens, something small triggers it. Maybe he sees her name pop up less. Maybe he notices she no longer reacts the same way, or maybe he sees her happy, calm, and unbothered. That's when regret begins to creep in, quietly, uncomfortably, because now he realizes something terrifying. She didn't need him as much as he thought she chose him. Regret becomes heavier when he understands timing betrayed him. He wants to change now. He wants to show effort now. He wants to communicate now. But the woman he needs to prove himself to is no longer asking. Her heart has already moved forward. And regret without opportunity is painful. You can't fix what no longer wants to be fixed. He replays moments in his head. Times she tried. Times she cried. Times she asked for less than she deserved. And he realizes the cruel truth. He had everything he's praying for now, and he treated it like it was replaceable. Regret teaches lessons. But sometimes the cost of that lesson is permanent loss. What hurts most is knowing the regret could have been avoided. It didn't require grand gestures, just consistency, respect, emotional presence. But now, even if he offers the world, it feels too late. Because a good woman doesn't leave when she's angry, she leaves when she's exhausted. Regret also comes with comparison. He meets new women, but they don't love like she did. They don't understand him the same way. They don't believe in him without conditions. And that's when regret deepens, because he realizes what he lost was rare. The final layer of regret is acceptance. Accepting that she didn't leave to punish him, she left to protect herself. And that realization stays with a man longer than any argument ever could. One of the deepest fears a man experiences after hurting a good woman is the realization that he may never be loved the same way again. At first, this thought doesn't seem real to him. He believes love is replaceable, that another woman will come along and fill the same space. But as time passes, that illusion starts to crack. He begins to understand that what she gave him wasn't common, it was intentional, patient, and rare. A good woman loves with depth. She doesn't love halfway. She studies the man she cares for. She learns his moods, his silence, his insecurities, and his dreams. She adjusts herself to support him, often putting his needs before her own. When she commits fully, not because she has to, but because she chooses to. That kind of love is not easily found again. After she's gone emotionally, a man starts to notice the difference in other relationships. Conversations feel shallow. Effort feels transactional. Affection feels conditional. He realizes that what he once had felt safe, warm, and grounding, she wasn't just a partner, she was peace. And peace is something men often don't recognize until chaos replaces it. This fear grows stronger when he understands that her love didn't come from desperation. It came from selflessness. She didn't need him to survive. She wanted him to grow. She encouraged his potential, believed in his future, and stood beside him during uncertainty. Losing that kind of support leaves a void that success, attention, or distractions cannot fill. He also fears that he trained her to love differently. By hurting her, he taught her caution. He taught her restraint. He taught her to guard her heart. And knowing that the version of her who loved freely may never return, not even for someone else, brings a heavy sense of guilt. Because he realizes he didn't just lose love, he altered it. As time goes on, this fear turns inward. He questions himself. Was he worth that love? Did he deserve it? And if someone like her couldn't stay, what does that say about him? These questions echo in quiet moments, especially when loneliness settles in. The most painful part is understanding that love like hers can't be demanded or recreated. It's given once, naturally, and only to those who value it. And once it's gone, it leaves behind a lesson that lingers far longer than the relationship itself. There is a unique fear that settles into a man's chest when he realizes he has become the reason a good woman's standards are higher, her walls are stronger, and her tolerance is lower. It's the fear of becoming the lesson instead of the blessing. At first, he doesn't see himself that way. He thinks of the relationship as something that simply didn't work out. But over time, clarity arrives, and with it comes the understanding that his actions didn't just end a relationship, they shaped her future. A good woman doesn't enter love guarded. She enters hopeful. She gives trust before it's earned. She assumes honesty. She believes in intention. When she's hurt repeatedly, that openness slowly disappears. And when she heals, she doesn't heal back into the same woman, she heals into a wiser one. A woman who knows what she will no longer accept. And realizing you are the reason for that transformation is a heavy truth to carry. This fear grows when a man understands that the next person in her life will benefit from the pain he caused. She will communicate clearly. She will walk away sooner. She will demand consistency. The patience she once gave freely will now have boundaries. And while that growth is good for her, it's painful for the man who knows he helped create it through his mistakes. He fears being remembered not for love, but for damage, not for protection, but for pain. The idea that his name might be attached to a chapter of her life defined by heartbreak, tears, and self-doubt unsettles him. Because no man wants to be the villain in someone else's story, especially not in the story of a woman who genuinely loved him. His fear intensifies in moments of reflection. He realizes she didn't leave to hurt him. She left to save herself. And that makes it worse because it removes the possibility of blaming anyone else. There's no enemy to point to, just a mirror. The truth that haunts him is that she is better now, not bitter, but stronger, more aware, more selective. And he knows that version of her exists because she survived loving him. That realization stays long after the relationship ends, reminding him that some losses are not about missing the person, but about living with the impact of how you treated them. There is a particular kind of fear that hits a man when he sees a woman he once hurt thriving without him. It's not loud, and it's not immediate. At first, he tells himself it doesn't matter. He assumes her happiness is temporary, maybe even exaggerated. He convinces himself that she's pretending, that deep down she must still be affected. But as time passes and her growth becomes undeniable, that fear settles in deeper than he expected. Seeing her glow without him forces him to confront a truth he tried to avoid. She was never weak, just loving. Her softness was a choice. not a flaw. And now that her energy is no longer invested in him, it's fueling her own life. She looks lighter, more confident, more focused. She laughs differently. She moves with purpose. And the scariest part is realizing that the glow didn't come from finding someone new. It came from letting him go. This fear grows when he understands that he wasn't her source of happiness. He was a chapter she closed in order to become more aligned with herself. That realization hurts because it dismantles his ego. He once thought she needed him. Now he sees that she needed peace more, and when she chose it, everything else followed. He begins to notice how people respond to her differently now. She carries herself with assurance. She doesn't seek validation. She doesn't chase. And that change makes him feel smaller because he remembers the version of her who waited, who hoped, who stayed. He knows he had access to her before the glow, before the healing, and he didn't protect it. What makes this fear heavier is knowing that her glow is permanent. It's not based on mood or circumstance. It's rooted in self-respect. She learned her worth the hard way, and she's not giving it up again. And no matter how much he changes, he knows he can never meet her where she is now because he wasn't willing to grow when it mattered. This fear also comes with comparison. He looks at his own life and sees stagnation, the same patterns, the same excuses. And then he looks at her progress and feels exposed. Her growth reflects his lack of it. Her peace highlights his unrest. And instead of motivating him, it often paralyzes him with regret. The hardest part is understanding that her glow is not revenge, it's healing. She didn't become better to hurt him. She became better to save herself. And that truth leaves no room for resentment, only self-awareness. Because when a man realizes the woman he broke is now shining brighter than ever, he understands that losing her wasn't just a breakup, it was a missed destiny.